Doctor Who The Leisure Hive, the 36th story of the 4th Doctor, is written by David Fisher and starring Tom Baker, Lala Ward and John Leeson. Yes, I'm counting Sharda as we finally got it. So, this is season 18. John Nathan Turner has replaced Graham Williams as a producer, and Barry Letts came back but as an executive producer only for this season. Christopher H. Bidmead has replaced Douglas Adams as a script editor. This season also has a trilogy of story arc, The E-Space. John Nathan Turner wanted to change from what was the latest Doctor Who story was like before he took over, as he thought they were silly, increasing the series production values as he thought they were poor. When he compared with glassy American science fiction series, the title sequence got updated with new 4th Doctor's face image, and Delia Derbyshire's arrangements of the theme music got replaced by Peter Howell, and 1980s design neon tubing logo designed by Sid Sutton with the effects of black with stars, and I thought it's pretty cool and I love the theme. Doctor Who is one of the best TV themes of all time, whichever it sounded like. Sadly, Tom Baker and Lala Ward didn't like it. Tom Baker wasn't too keen on the scripts. I mean, he wanted to be like Philip Hinchcliffe's era, and Lala Ward pointed out that they removed the humour, so the story was going to be called The Argolans and Avalon, but obviously changed to The Leisure Hive. David Fisher created a criminal race called Fomarzi, kind of an anagram of mafioso, and the costume was reused in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy TV series. So the TARDIS prop that was used since the Mask of Mandragora got replaced with a new one in this story, and used until the end of Classic series in 1989. This is also a first story to use the Quantal DPE 5000 digital image processing system, plus the budget was running really bad, as I've heard. So the story begins with the long shot of the deserted beach in Brighton. While the Doctor is sleeping, Romana walks with K9 and threw a beach ball at the sea, which didn't end well because K9 blew up as soon as he's in the sea. Sad moment. But that's obviously not the end of K9, thankfully. Romana dropped K9 on the Doctor's lap and complained about the wrong place, wrong time and wrong season. The Doctor says he can't always run away from the Black Guardian, so Romana suggested to the Doctor that they should go to Argolis. It was really funny when Romana goes on about Argolis and the Doctor just falls asleep like this. So meanwhile, Morix, the chairman, is getting old and died, and so Mina replaced him. The Doctor and Romana arrived on the planet into the demonstration of the experiment, like two guys levitated playing tennis, which is pretty effective, and a guy who's screaming while his body is torn apart. The Doctor has a look and saying he's badly hurt. However, him and Romana were taken to Madam Chairman, but they escaped. Pretty amusing when the Doctor is talking to a guard, and not long before Mina alerted them. As Romana is pulling the Doctor's scarf at the TARDIS, she realises it's the pink dummy. So the Doctor went in the machine, and his body gets ripped apart, which is pretty unsettling. As Romana is trying to get help, the Doctor happens to escape at the back by putting a hole with his sonic screwdriver. So as he and Romana try to escape, they get surrounded by security guards, while Harden has arrived and Mina is learning more about the time travel technology. So the Doctor and Romana went to see Mina, who's aging, which makes her ill. So Romana works on the Rejuvenate experiment. Meanwhile, Stimson sees a corpse with no eyeball, which is pretty sick. Ugh. It's so unsettling. He gets murdered by something. The Doctor discovers his scarf around the dead Harden, which made people think it was the Doctor who killed him, so he goes into the court. After Romana and Harden are done with the experiments, they ran off to see the Doctor, while the potion explodes with green effects, so they tested it on the Doctor. As Romana realises something wrong, she asks the people to get the Doctor out of the machine, and he's an old man. 2 stories in a row where we see the old 4th Doctor. Tom Baker, even though he was ill and argued with the producer, still brilliant as the 4th Doctor, more than words can say. As you can see, the 4th Doctor's costume in season 18 is similar but different, with the colour focusing on red and brown, with 2 question marks on his shirt. Tom Baker, Lalla Ward, Barry Letts and Christopher H. Bidmead did not like that idea and tried to convince John Nathan Turner to remove, or maybe the explanation mark would have been sufficient, and John Nathan Turner also wanted to ditch the scarf. But June Hudson, the designer, wanted to keep it as its iconic part for the character, and this is the reason why Tom Baker left, because of the changes, which is understandable. Not that I'm criticising Nathan Turner's design. Lalla Ward played the 2nd Romana, a Time Lord or Time Lady from Gallifrey, who got brought to the TARDIS as the Doctor's companion to help search for the pieces of Key to Time. And I think Lala's fantastic. She and Tom do have a great chemistry. John Leeson voiced K9, an intelligent robot dog created by Professor Marinus. This one is Mark II, and I loved K9, and John is great as K9. I met him at Comic Con back in 2014 and had a great chat with him, and he's a nice guy. Fomosi are reptilian humanoids, and I thought they're cool, and I love the sound of their voices with the different beeping type of sounds. Argolan are humanoids from the planet Argolis, which I think are interesting races, and I'd like to see them returning. David Haig played Pangol, the youngest Argolan, who's the villain of the story. Nigel Lambert played Hardin, who's a scientist from Earth. Adrian Corey played Mina, who replaced Morix as a chairman after he aged to death. John Collin played Brock, not Eddie Brock, just Brock, who's a businessman and impersonated by Fomosi. Lawrence Payne played Morix, who was the chairman until he died of old age. Martin Fisk and Ray Montague played Vargas and guides, who are tour guides. Ian Talbot played Cloud, a Fomosi, and got used by them. David Alistair played Stimson, Hardin's assistant. The casts did a great job. The effects and sets are great. I love the atmosphere. The music by Peter Howell is amazing, with incidental music, especially the shot of the exterior. Because the Doctor is suspected that he's a murderer, him and Romana are imprisoned. However, they get given those collars so they can be free around the Leisure Hive, but they got to stay in certain areas, otherwise those collars will strangle them to death. Hardin managed to unlock those collars from the Doctor and Romana, so while Romana goes into the machine after sorting stuff out, Pangol plans to age the Doctor for another 2,000 years. Fomosi helped Romana escape and introduced it to the Doctor. So after the Doctor and Romana brought army of Fomosi and attacking Brock, it was pretty lethal the way they ripped him apart, and Brock reveals to be one of them and got his voice. So Pangol plans to use a machine to create an army. The Doctor got in the machine while Mina is dying with old age. The bit where the army created is really effectively. As the army began and Romana tried to warn that the Doctor is in there, the whole army revealed to be the Doctor. All but one disappeared, so while Hardin tries to take Mina into the machine, Pangol pushed past and got himself with Mina into the machine, and as a result, Mina becomes a young adult and Pangol turns into a baby who's to be brought up properly. So after saying goodbye, the Doctor and Romana goes back in the TARDIS. The Doctor does not like not knowing where they're going to be next, but neither does the Black Guardian. Scary. So that's the Leisure Hive. There's great elements in the story. It's nicely written and good change there. It's a shame that Tom Baker and Lalla Ward didn't like it though. I think maybe because everyone has their own taste, and it's fair enough if they don't like it and choosing to leave. What did you think of this story? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Thanks people as always for watching, and see you in the next video.